The text message arrived at 2:37 a.m., jolting me awake with its harsh blue light cutting through the darkness of our bedroom. My first thought was something must be wrong. No one sends messages at this hour unless it's an emergency. My name is Elena Martinez, 35 years old, and little did I know that this single message would be the first thread in a complex tapestry of betrayal that would change everything. "We need to talk," the message read. It was from Sophia, my husband Michael's sister. I'd always known Sophia didn't like me. From the moment Michael and I got married 5 years ago, there was something beneath her polite smile. A tension, a barely concealed disdain that made family gatherings feel like walking through a minefield. Michael stirred beside me, his breathing deep and steady. He'd been working late at the law firm, something that had become increasingly common over the past few months. I carefully slipped out of bed, not wanting to wake him, and walked to the kitchen. The message continued. "Meet me at the cafe on Oak Street, 7 a.m. Don't tell Michael." My hand trembled slightly as I read the words. There was an urgency, almost a threat in her tone that sent a chill down my spine. I'd met Michael in graduate school. He was studying law. I was pursuing my doctorate in environmental science. We were the perfect power couple, or so everyone thought. Michael from a wealthy family, me with my academic ambitions, both driven and passionate about our respective fields. Sophia had always been different. While Michael was the responsible, ambitious sibling, she bounced between jobs, always expecting her family to bail her out. Their parents, especially their mother, had always been overly protective of Sophia, making excuses for her constant financial troubles and failed relationships. I checked the time. 4:15 a.m. Sleep was impossible now. Something in Sophia's message felt different. Not just another family drama, but something more calculated. The "don't tell Michael" part echoed with a sense of impending revelation that made my stomach twist. When morning came, I prepared carefully. I dressed in the blue blazer Michael loved, the one that made me feel strongest. My doctoral research on urban environmental sustainability was gaining recognition, and I'd worked hard to build my reputation. The cafe was quiet when I arrived. Sophia was already there, her perfectly manicured nails wrapped around a coffee cup. She looked different, more serious than I'd ever seen her. "You took everything from me," she said without preamble. I blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" Her laugh was brittle, sharp-edged. "Michael. My brother. My family's attention. Everything." I realized then that this was more than a simple confrontation. This was a declaration of war. Michael and I built our life together. I said carefully, "I don't understand what you mean." Sophia leaned forward, her eyes glinting with a mix of desperation and something darker. "You have no idea what's coming to you." The way she said it, like a promise, like a threat, made my blood run cold. What Sophia didn't know was that I wasn't the naive woman she believed me to be. Years of academic research had taught me to look beneath surfaces, to understand complex systems and hidden motivations. And something told me that this conversation was about to change everything. "Tell me," I said, my voice steady. "What exactly are you planning?" Little did Sophia know, I was already 3 steps ahead, and the game was just beginning. The courtroom was silent, full of tension. I sat calmly, hands in my lap, watching as the truth finally came out. Sophia had made a mistake. She thought I was weak, just a quiet observer in my own life. For weeks, I had gathered proof. Bank records, secret messages, recorded talks. What I found was worse than I had imagined. Michael's mother, Eleanor, sat behind me. Her perfect suit and makeup couldn't hide her fear. She knew what was coming. "Mrs. Martinez," the judge said, "please summarize your claims." I stood up. "Your Honor, this was a planned effort to ruin my marriage and my life." I explained how Sophia and Eleanor had worked together to frame me. They faked messages and photos, hired private detectives, and built a false story of me cheating. Their goal was to make Michael divorce me and leave me with nothing. They believed that once I was gone, Michael would be easy to control. But they had underestimated me. I had been watching them, gathering proof for months. "The most important evidence," I said, "is this." I handed the court clerk a USB drive. It contained proof, bank transfers, conversations, and records of payments to lawyers and investigators. Thousands of dollars spent on lies. Michael sat in shock. His lawyer whispered urgently, but he had no defense. "This isn't just about a divorce," I said. This was a full plan to destroy my reputation, my career, and my future. The court reviewed the evidence, bank records, text messages, and recorded conversations. The truth was undeniable. The judge looked serious. What started as a divorce case had now become a bigger legal issue: fraud and harassment. Sophia turned pale. Eleanor looked shaken. Michael looked sick. My lawyer spoke next. The damage to my client is not just financial. Her career and emotional well-being were attacked. Their family's perfect image was falling apart. Years of manipulation were now exposed. The final decision was clear. Michael would lose the divorce case, and his family faced possible legal charges. As I left the courtroom, I felt peaceful. This wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. Outside, the sun was shining. My phone buzzed, messages of support from friends and colleagues. Eleanor walked up to me. "You've destroyed this family," she said. I looked at her calmly. "No, your own actions did that." As I walked away, I realized something important. The best way to fight lies isn't anger. It's patience. It's proof. It's knowing your own worth. Sophia and her family had made one big mistake. They had underestimated me. Just then, my phone rang. It was the dean of my department. A new research grant, an exciting project. My career was moving forward. Life, I thought, has its own way of bringing justice. The courtroom hummed with tension, a quiet electricity that speaks of impending revelation. I sat composed, my blue blazer pressed, my evidence meticulously organized. My name is Elena Martinez, and today everything would change. Sophia and Michael's mother, Eleanor, sat 2 rows behind me. Their perfectly coordinated outfits couldn't mask the fear brewing in their eyes. "Mrs. Martinez," the judge addressed me, "please summarize your claims." I stood, my movements deliberate and controlled. "Your Honor, this is about a calculated attempt to destroy my life, my marriage, and my professional reputation." The evidence unfolded like a carefully constructed narrative. Bank statements, recorded conversations, text messages, a comprehensive trail of manipulation that stretched back months. Their plan had been intricate: fabricate evidence of my infidelity, create grounds for a divorce that would leave me with nothing. Michael would be easily manipulated once I was out of the picture. What they didn't understand was that I was never just a passive target. "Exhibit A," I said, sliding a USB drive to the court clerk. It contained a network of financial transactions, payments between Eleanor, Sophia, and a web of lawyers and private investigators. Michael looked shell-shocked, his lawyer whispering urgently in his ear. The confident attorney I'd married had been reduced to a cornered man. My lawyer began detailing the financial damages, not just monetary, but the emotional trauma, the professional reputation they'd attempted to destroy. The most damning evidence was a series of recordings. Sophia and Eleanor discussing how they would eliminate me, how I was an obstacle to their family's perfect image. They believed I was just a simple academic, I explained. Someone they could easily manipulate and discard. The judge's expression grew increasingly serious. What had begun as a divorce hearing was transforming into an investigation of systematic fraud and harassment. Sophia's face drained of color. Eleanor's perfectly maintained composure cracked. Michael looked like he might be sick. When the hearing concluded, the results were definitive: a complete dismantling of their elaborate scheme. Michael would not only lose the divorce proceedings but potentially face legal consequences. As we left the courtroom, a strange calm settled over me. This wasn't about revenge. This was about justice, about protecting myself when no one else would. Outside, the summer sun blazed. My phone buzzed with messages of support from colleagues, my research team, people who understood my true value. Eleanor approached, her usual confidence gone. "You've destroyed this family," she whispered. I met her gaze, calm and direct. "No," I replied. "Your own actions did that long before I spoke a word." Walking away, I realized something profound. The most powerful weapon against manipulation isn't anger. It's documentation. It's patience. It's knowing your own worth. My academic training had prepared me for this moment. The ability to observe, to collect evidence, to build a comprehensive case. These were skills I'd honed for years. Sophia and her family had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated me. As I stepped into the sunlight, my phone rang. The dean of my department, a new international research grant, a collaboration that would take my work to unprecedented levels. Life, I realize, has its own way of delivering justice. Later that evening, sitting in my apartment, I reflected on the day's events. The carefully constructed plan that had taken months to unravel. The family dynamics that had been toxic long before I entered the picture. My research on urban environmental sustainability had taught me something crucial. Systems are complex. Family systems, legal systems, personal relationships, they all have hidden currents, unspoken rules. I had navigated those currents. I had survived. A message from a colleague caught my eye. "Impressive work today," it read. Not many would have the patience, the strategic thinking to pull this off. I smiled. This wasn't just a victory. This was a statement,